As a musicologist, the focus of my study is really the intersections of music, technology, and culture. I wrote a dissertation that I called the phonograph effect, and it was about the influence of recording technology on listening, performing, and composing in the early part of the 20th century. My first book, which is called Capturing Sound, How Technology Has Changed Music, expanded on that and looked at a variety of case studies in jazz, in classical music, violin performance practice, hip-hop, file sharing, digital sampling, and so on. I just finished a book called Groove Music, The Art and Culture of the Hip-Hop DJ, which is really a history of the more than 35-year art of hip-hop DJing and the culture that arose around it. So in all of my work, I'm really interested in how musicians interact with technology, how technology shapes the way musicians create music, how they think about music, how listeners hear music, how they consume music, but also how people shape the technologies too. This is a fairly new phenomenon. It's really just been around since the 70s. So to study my subject, hip-hop DJs, I have to talk to them. I have to meet with them, I interact with them, I interview them, I watch them perform. And so I've spent a lot of time with DJs. One of the great experiences of my scholarly life so far was getting a driving tour of the Bronx from Grand Wizard Theodore, who was the man who invented scratching. I'm not just focused on DJs as a scholar. I also am very interested in exploring DJing as a teacher. And I've taught classes on DJing, on one called The Art and Culture of the DJ, which explores not just hip-hop DJs, but all kinds of DJs, radio DJs, club DJs, as well as what are called turntablists, people who use turntables as musical instruments. Actually, one of the next things I want to do is teach a class that has DJing as a practical component of the class. So I'll be teaching classes that cover not just the history of DJing, but have a lab component where every week students go to the turntable lab, essentially, and learn how to make sounds with the turntables, how to mix records, how to scratch. And these labs will be co-taught with local DJs, professional DJs. I think a lot of people think of DJs simply as people who play records. And if you spend any amount of time watching a good DJ do his or her thing, you realize that they are making very complex and sophisticated musical decisions and that they are creating music in real time. They are often improvising, they are composing, and I think it's really important to expose students to the wide variety of music-making possibilities. It's not simply about playing a traditional instrument. It's not just about playing electric guitar or drums. There are all sorts of ways of making music, and that's one of the reasons why I like bringing DJs into the classroom.